Good morning everyone. So in the last tutorial we have already finished the game scenes, including all the obstacles on the pathway, including the hurting touchy ground, and also the winning zone and the introduction zone. So when we activate the game, you will see that once we enter the introduction zone, the text, the introduction will show up. If I leave, the text will disappear. And if I touch the ground, for example, health point will be reduced. However, you will find out, even I keep staying on the ground, even I walk on the ground, it doesn't affect my health point at all. It only affects my health point at the very beginning, when I enter the zone. If I want this character be hurt again, I have to jump into this zone. That will be a problem. My idea is that once our character touches the ground, its health point will be immediately decreased, and probably after you stay on the ground for 10 seconds, well, your health point will be 0. Something like that. That's the idea. So that our character will be forced to follow this floating place, this floating pathway to move. So that's the things we have to do. But why it will work like that? Let's take a look. Let's go to the BP hurt GR. That's the blueprint we write before. So inside this blueprint we have the ground, we have the collision box, and for the event graphic you can see we're using component begin overlap. So which means once our character enters this collision zone, it will send a signal to cast to BP third-person character. And once we send a signal, this component will activate the hurt script. So somehow using this hurt script, it can decrease the health point. And for the hurt script, it was already read right here under our third-person character, right here. Okay, so you have to create this component first so that this one can work. And after that, that's about the sound effect, and if you want, you can also play the animation, explosion animation, up to you. But the problem of this script is that for this component, it will only work one time once we enter the zone. But it won't keep entering. We just stay in the zone and it won't be activated. So that's the problem. The things I want to do is that once our character stay in the zone, its health point will be keep reducing. That's the things we are going to do. So how can we do that? How can we fix that? That will be the point for the tutorial today. And also, I want to create some floating box, smash box, move horizontally. So somehow increase the difficulty of this game. So let's get started. First part, let's fix the ground. And second part, let's create some new floating smash box, and it will become the new obstacle in this game. Actually, I have already finished one blueprint can perfectly fit my requirement. Let's open up this one and take a look. The major difference between the BP hurt GR and the old one, this one, is that for the rest of the parts, pretty much the same. But for this time, we added a new component. First one is the boolean component. We use this to check whether the character is in the zone on the ground or not. Once it is on the ground, you will send a signal to set timer by event. And for this component, it will keep sending signal to the next node based on time you set. So for example, my time setting right now is 0.5. So for every 0.5 second, it will send a signal to the next node. So the next node will be GR hurt. So it will keep sending signal to GR hurt and make the character get hurt and get damaged. Once our character get out, and this boolean component will define now our character is not in the zone, it's not on the ground. So it will stop the timer to send the signal. So that's the idea about the ground setting. Let's try this one, okay? So first things, let's go back to here. I don't need the hurt anymore. Let's delete that. So for the rest part, we are still using that. So let's move them to the side. Okay. we still need to using that. And I have to create a new herd inside third-person character. So I will call that one GR herd, which means the damage is from the ground. Let's right-click and choosing Add Custom Event right here. Actually, I already have one, but we can see that later. We can use that later. So since I already have since we have this one now, but you can find out we still miss one output point. So let's go to here, Inputs, click the button, and we will have now. Don't forget, right? The type of the parameter is floating number. And I want to use in the old one since I already have this one, so I don't want to create a new one. So now I can delete that. The new one, for this component, I already put them here. So I have to put this new GR herd custom event to this formula. The first thing is we can put them to this subtraction formula. So let's click this plus button you can increase a new input point, and let's connect this to here. And the next one is that we still have to executing and using this component to define the health point, otherwise it won't work. So let's connect them to here. So that's the whole thing. And I want to rename this part, new parameter. Let's call this one GR herd. So now we have GR herd. Let's compile and save. So for the third person character, it has been done. So just put the GR herd custom event to this formula and using the executing output point to reset the health point. Now let's go to the BP herd GR1. That's the one we are going to change, right? So the first thing we are going to do right here is to create a new variable. Let's call this one, go to here to click this plus button, create a new variable, and let's call this one is player in zone. And it's a Boolean variable, remember that. And drag this one out and choosing set is player in zone. And send the executing single to here. And remember, it's player in zone, we have to make this one to be true. So which means once the character get into the collision box, and it will call the third person character. So now we can code all the property inside this code. And then it will send a single to this one, which means right now our character is in a zone. So for the next part, we are going to use set timer by event. That's the stuff we are going to use. Timer by event. This one. So as far as you can see, we can set a time right now. So for now, probably I think once per second, it will get damage. And also because this one has to keep looping, you have to keep cycling. So we have to check the looping part. So for the next things we're going to do, right now we can call the formula here. We can call this one, get a GR herd. So let's call this one. Let's go to find GR herd. This. But this is a blue one, right? This is a blue one. So we still need an event to activate this. So let's go to the event graphic to create a GR herd event inside this BP herd GR1. Let's go to here, graphic, event graphic, click plus button, and sorry, not this one. Let's delete. Let's go to here and right click, add custom event. And for this one, I still name this one GR herd, but that's the one which existed inside this blueprint. And we are going to use this to activate our set timer by event. So let's enter, enter. So for now, what's the target to get her? For sure, the target will be our third person character. So let's drag this one to this part. But there is something we missed. Let's go to here. Let's go to here and choosing save and compile. We do have the GR herd number in this part, but we still need a new parameter. So let's choosing this one and create a new parameter and choose compile and save. Compile and save. This one gets wrong. Let's recall that one. gr hurt. BP third person character. So now we have. Let's drag them to here. And also for the gr hurt, I think it's fine. We already have a parameter. But if you want, you can use in hurt parameter to define that. So let's use this one to define that. And for the target, for sure, it will be cast to BP third person character. So let's connect them together. Okay, so now it's already done. For the new parameter, actually doesn't have any usage, so we can delete that right here. Compile and save, and it will also be changed right here. So for the next part, the thing is pretty simple. We just reconnect this part, the place on and location. Reconnect them together. So right now, I think it's pretty much done. Let's compile and save. Now let's start to play. Let's enter. So now we have to finish this part. Let's take a look. So first things, let's go back to here. And the things we have to do is to set a new variable. Let's click the button, and we have to change this one to a new. I think this one we don't use that like often, but for this time, that's the things we have to use. Time handle. That's the things we're going to use. And let's call this one probably clear timer. That's the variable for this time. So the next part of the things we are going to do is to use uncomponent and overlap. So we have to choose in the box collision, right click, add event, and choosing add uncomponent and overlap. So once our character gets out of the collision box, this event will be activated and send a signal. Next part, we're still going to using this one. Is player in zone or not? Let's choose in set. So again, connect the executor. And for this one, the is player in zone, we have to uncheck that. And the next part, we have to use clear and invalidate timer by handle. Let's find this one. Clear and invalidate timer by handle. So this is the handle we're going to use. Drag and choosing get. Connect to handle. Okay, pretty much done. Let's just save. But also one more thing we have to do. We have to set up this one. So let's drag this one out and choosing set clear timer. Set clear timer. So that's the next thing we're going to do. Let's connect executing point to executing point, return value to clear timer, and save compile. So now let's try. Play. Okay, so now stop. Okay, I get in. Go back to the ground. Okay, so now it stopped. Alright, I accidentally. So that's the idea. Right now, the ground can work perfectly because we're using the timer to keep sending the signal. So our character will keep getting reducing health based on the time we set. So for this part, it's pretty much done. Let's just save and compile. For the next part, the things we are going to do is to set up the floating smash box, and that smash box will keep moving and create more difficulty inside our game. So for the next part I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a couple different spawn points. And for this spawn point, it will keep generating floating box, and the floating box will probably move horizontally. And once our character crash on the floating box, our health point will get reductions. And meanwhile, all these floating bars will be generated based on time, just like the timer we used before. We can use a timer to do that, and probably it will only exist for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and it will be delayed. So it will just like a temporary box floating in the air, and it will be regenerated for every 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and for every 5 seconds, 10 seconds, after it lasts for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, it will be deleted. That's the thing. The first thing is we have to create a box. Actually, I already have one, so let's open up this one to take a look. So that here is the reference. If you want, you can get a screenshot. And how can we do that? Very simple. Let's just duplicate using the old one we have created before, this box. Let's right-click, duplicate. So now I have Smasher 5. Double-click, enter to this blueprint editor. So for this part, all these things I don't need them anymore. So you can just simply delete that. But for the damage screen, I still need them. So you can delete them. For the rest part, just delete that. Okay. So how can we do that? Very simple. We will using this one, event tick. Basically, for event tick, it will based on time to set the single. It's a little bit similar to timer, but compared to timer, this one is an event node. So the next part, since we are going to do, is to create a moving node using a moving node to move the smash box. So let's go add actor local offset. That's the component we are going to use. And for the next one, the things we are going to do is that what's the things we are going to move? Basically, the target itself. So I think right now this is fine. We are just going to move this box. So the point will be about the move location. But I want to split this one because I don't need to move X, Z. I only want to move Y direction. So let's choose in right click, split struct pin. So it will be separate to 3 different parameters. And now for this part, let's drag this one out, choosing promote to variable. So that's the location of the Y direction. So we can set out this number. Let's choosing compile and save, and this default value will show up. Let's type in 5, I think. So for every 5 seconds, for every second, it will move 5 centimeters. That's the idea. And after it show up, then we are going to use an event begin play. So for event tick, it will help us to move this box. And for the event begin play, we are going to define how long the box will exist on the scan scenes. So I only want this one to be to last on the scene for probably 6 seconds. So let's choosing delay. And for this one, let's type in 6. We can actually define a number here. So let's choose promote to variable and choosing compile and save. So for this one, I want to open up the eyes. Also this one, I want to open up the eyes so that we can define the speed and the lifetime of the floating smash box. Compile and save. So once the smash box lasts for 5 seconds or 6 seconds, we have to destroy it. So let's choosing destroy after. So this smash box will disappear. Let's save. And let's go back to third person character. Let's go back to the Unreal game editor. Drag this smash box on the game scene and let's see. Play. Okay, so it will move. 6 seconds. Well, it still show up. It doesn't look right. Probably it lasts for too long, so I want to reduce the number durations. Probably let's just set the time 2 seconds. Compile and save. Okay, so now let's play. 1, 2. Okay, it disappeared. So now I think it works. Okay, so for the smash box, it's just like this. And you can set a different different material for this one. I already have one, so I want to use an emission one. Wait for a second. Let's find out. I think I have one. RAY emit material. Let's use this one. Compile and save. So now we have this one, but I want this Smashbox can be generated on the game scenes. So I need to create a reborn point, the spawn point. And for the spawn point, we will keep sending single and recreate the Smashbox. That's the idea. So how can we do that? I already have one. It's right here. The idea is very simple. Still, we can use an event tick. We still can use an event tick to control the single. So for every second, for every delta second, it will send a single to the next node. And for the delay, basically, it's just about how much time it will take to generate a Smashbox. So probably for every 5 seconds, for every 1 second, it will regenerate a new Smashbox. And for this part, that's the point. We are going to spawn actor. So which means for this one, we can code the other blueprint to this spawn point blueprint script. And for sure, we have to define where it is. And for where it is, it's supposed to be the same position, just like the spawn point. So that's the idea. Let's try to do that, okay? I will turn off this one, and let's go to here. Let's recreate a new one. Right click, choosing blueprint class, choosing actor, and let's call this one BP spawn P2. So that's the new spawn point. Double click, enter to the blueprint editor. I'm going to create a box so that I can know where it is the spawn point. So probably just like this. Compile and save. Next part, let's go to event graphic. So just like what we said before, the things we're going to use is event tick. Using event tick to generate a single. So let's go to here, event tick, and drag, choosing delay. So now we have. And for the duration, you can define by yourself. Let's drag this one out and make this one become variable. I think it will be better. So let's rename that, compile and save. Let's call this one generate durations. Compile and save. And for a generate time, for sure it can be too short. So probably for every 3 seconds, or maybe for every 3 seconds is quite enough. So next part, let's drag and choosing spawn actor from class. And the class, for sure, it will be our BP Smasher 5. BP Actually, I misspelled in the name, but it doesn't matter. So now we can use in this script to generate the BP Smasher 5. But if you press save and compile, it will get error because we still have to define where it will be generated. So for sure, the position will be just like this box, right? So let's go to here and choosing get self. You can just type in self. Get reference to self, this one. So which means we are going to take a reference of this box, of this blueprint itself. And then choosing get actor location. So we can use this one to know where it is. Where is this blueprint right now? Next part, make transform. So which means we are going to extract the location of this blueprint. Finally, return value to spawn point, spawn transformations. So that's the whole thing. Choosing compile and save. So now we have the spawn point. Let's take a look. So I don't need this one anymore. We can just delete that. And let's drag the spawn point to here. Move this one up and start to play. Okay, so it do generate, but it's too short. It can't even get to the area I was working on. So probably we have to change a little bit. So first things I wanted the generating speed can be speed up. So probably let's go to durations, and for every 1 second. That's the first thing. Compile and save. And for the smashers, we have to make this one live longer. So for the duration, I think 5 seconds is quite enough. And the moving speed, I want this one can be faster. Let's set this one to 7. Compile and save. Let's go back to here. And probably let's create a couple more. And for sure, we can just simply move this one to this part. And rotate. Please. Rotation. Rotate for 180 degrees. This one as well. Okay, let's try. Alright, so you can see that if I rotate that one to 180 degrees, it still doesn't change the position. That's because we already set up the move direction is Y, right? So even we rotate this one, it doesn't matter. It's okay, we can redo that again. So let's delete this one for a while. For now, let's play. So you can see that right now it will generate. This box. Alright, I died. So that's the things. So I think there is an important things we have to know. So first thing for the smashers, let's take a look. The model we're using right now is cube. Okay, static mesh cube. So make sure, let's go to the content to find the cube model. Right here and find cube. I think is I'm not so sure. Probably BP cube, trigger not this one. Shape cube, this one. So double click, go to here, and for this cube, make sure go to collision, and the things we have to do is remove collision. What's that mean? Which means our character will not bump into this box. If we can bump into this box, which means this box will using Unreal will do the calculation of the physics, and this box probably can push us away. So I don't want this kind of things happen. I just want this one can reduce our life. And also probably after this box bump to us, crash onto the character, the box will disappear. So that's also the things we haven't done yet. So let's try to do that. So how can we make this smasher be destroyed after it bumped into our character? Actually, it's pretty simple. Let's go to the BP Smasher 5. So we already have the Smasher damage 3. So once our character bump into the floating Smasher box, it will cast a single to third-person character, and it will activate the hurt script. And it will play the song at the location and spawn emitter at the location. So the things we have to do actually is just to put another component after spawn emitter at location. It will be destroy actor. So let's Ctrl C, Ctrl V, copy this one to here, and connect to this slide. So basically, after it played a song, after it show the explosion effect, and the actor will be destroyed. That's the things. So let's save and compile, and let's see. So let's jump. Okay, I might get hurt. Disappear. So that's the things. Basically, right now we have almost finished all the rest of the things. So we still have to set up the time limitation. Basically, it was still related to the health point. So before that, we can try to organize this game and try to reset the pathway, make this game more fun. So probably for the next, I will leave that part by yourself. You can try to organize that. Click this button and you can go to the top view, okay, right view, back view. So it will be better for you to using top view, back view, or side view to reset your game level. And for sure, you can still change the different way for display. For example, like on light, or using light, and using a different way to show your model. Okay, so that's all the things for today. Hope you can follow the progress and try to finish the new ground and a new spawn point for generating a floating smasher box. So, try to catch up the progress, practice for more time. See you next week.